Welcome to our channel, History Enthusiasts. Get ready to embark on an extraordinary journey through time as we unlock the secrets of one of the most intriguing ancient civilizations. In today's video, we dive deep into the mysteries and marvels of the Indus Valley Civilization. From its advanced urban planning to its remarkable craftsmanship, we'll uncover the wonders of this enigmatic society. But before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community of curious minds. Let's get started. Indus Civilization. Indus Civilization, also called Indus Valley Civilization or Harappan Civilization, is the earliest known urban culture of the Indian subcontinent. The nuclear dates of the civilization appear to be about 2500 to 1700 BCE, though the southern sites may have lasted later into the second millennium BCE. Among the world's three earliest civilizations, the other two are those of Mesopotamia and Egypt. The Indus civilization was the most extensive. The recovery and study of the Indus civilization. The Indus civilization is known to have consisted of two large cities, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, and more than 100 towns and villages, often of relatively small size. The two cities were each perhaps originally about 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers square in overall dimensions, and their outstanding magnitude suggests political centralization either in two large states or in a single great empire with alternative capitals, a practice having analogies in Indian history. It is also possible that Harappa succeeded Mohenjo-daro, which is known to have been devastated more than once by exceptional floods. The population was estimated to be 23,500 to 35,000 in Harappa and 35,000 to 41,250 in Mohenjo-daro. The southern region of the civilization, on the Kathiawar Peninsula and beyond, appears to be of later origin than the major Indus sites. The Indus civilization evolved from the villages of neighbors or predecessors, using the Mesopotamian model of irrigated agriculture with sufficient skill to reap the advantages of the spacious and fertile Indus River Valley while controlling the formidable annual flood that simultaneously fertilizes and destroys. Having obtained a secure foothold on the plain and mastered its more immediate problems, the new civilization, doubtless with a well-nourished and increasing population, would find expansion along the flanks of the great waterways an inevitable sequel. The civilization subsisted primarily by farming, supplemented by appreciable but often elusive commerce. Wheat and 6-row barley were grown, field peas, mustard, sesame, and a few date stones have also been found, as well as some of the earliest known traces of cotton. Domesticated animals included dogs and cats, humped and shorthorn cattle, domestic fowl, and possibly pigs, camels, and buffalo. The Asian elephant probably was also domesticated, and its ivory tusks were freely used. Society and political system. Despite a growing body of archaeological evidence, the social and political structures of the Indus state remain objects of conjecture. The apparent craft specialization and localized craft groupings at Mohenjo-daro, along with the great divergence in house types and size, point toward some degree of social stratification. Trade was extensive and well regulated, providing imported raw materials for use at internal production centers, distributing finished goods throughout the region, and arguably culminating in the establishment of Harappan colonies in both Mesopotamia and Badakhshan. The remarkable uniformity of weights and measures throughout the Indus lands, as well as the development of such presumably civic works as the great granaries, implies a strong degree of political and administrative control over a wide area. Further, the widespread occurrence of inscriptions in the Harappan script almost certainly indicates the use of a single lingua franca. Nevertheless, in the absence of inscriptions that can be read and interpreted, it is inevitable that far less is known of these aspects of the Indus civilization than those of contemporaneous Mesopotamia. Craft, technology, and artifacts. Excavations of Indus cities have produced much evidence of artistic activity. Such finds are important because they provide insights into the minds, lives, and religious beliefs of their creators. Stone sculpture is extremely rare, and much of it is quite crude. The total repertoire cannot compare to the work done in Mesopotamia during the same periods. The figures are apparently all intended as images for worship. Such figures include seated men, recumbent composite animals, or, in unique instances, from Harappa, a standing nude male and a dancing figure. The finest pieces are of excellent quality. There is also a small but notable repertoire of cast bronze figures, including several fragments and complete examples of dancing girls, small chariots, carts, and animals. The technical excellence of the bronzes suggests a highly developed art, but the number of examples is still small. They appear to be Indian workmanship rather than imports. The popular art of the Harappans was in the form of terracotta figurines. The majority are of standing females, often heavily laden with jewelry, but standing males, some with beards and horns, are also present. It has been generally agreed that these figures are largely deities, perhaps a great mother and a great god, but some small figures of mothers with children or domestic activities are probably toys. There are varieties of terracotta animals, carts, and toys, such as monkeys pierced to climb a string and cattle that nod their heads. Painted pottery is the only evidence that there was a tradition of painting. Much of the work is executed with boldness and delicacy of feeling, but the restrictions of the art do not leave much scope for creativity. Perhaps the best-known artifacts of the Indus civilization are several small seals. The seals were generally cut from steatite, soapstone, and were carved in intaglio or incised with a copper burin, cutting tool. The great majority of seals show a humpless unicorn or bull in profile, while others show the Indian humped bull, elephant, bison, rhinoceros, or tiger. The animal frequently stands before a ritual object, variously identified as a standard, a manager, or even an incense burner. A considerable number of the seals contain scenes of obvious mythological or religious significance. The interpretation of these seals is, however, often highly problematic. The seals were certainly more widely diffused than other artistic artifacts and show a much higher level of workmanship. Probably they functioned as amulets, as well as more practical devices to identify merchandise. Copper and bronze were the principal metals used for making tools and implements. These include flat oblong axes, chisels, knives, spears, arrowheads, of a kind that was exported to neighboring hunting tribes, small saws, and razors. All these could be made by simple casting, chiseling, and hammering. Bronze is less common than copper, and it is notably rarer in the lower levels. Four main varieties of metal have been found: crude copper lumps in a state in which they left the smelting furnace, refined copper, containing trace elements of arsenic and antimony, an alloy of copper with 2 to 5% of arsenic, and bronze with a tin alloy, often of as much as 11 to 13%. The copper and bronze vessels of the Harappans are among their finest products, formed by hammering sheets of metal. The casting of copper and bronze was understood, and figurines of men and animals were made by the lost wax process. These two are technically outstanding, though the overall level of copper-bronze technology is not considered to have reached the level attained in Mesopotamia. Other metals used were gold, silver, and lead. The latter was employed occasionally for making small vases and such objects as plumb bobs. Silver is relatively more common than gold, and more than a few vessels are known, generally in forms similar to copper and bronze examples. Gold is by no means common and was generally reserved for such small objects as beads, pendants, and brooches. Other special crafts include the manufacture of faience, earthenware decorated with colored glazes, for making beads, amulets, sealings, and small vessels, and the working of stone for bead manufacture and seals. Beads were made from a variety of substances, but the carnelians are particularly noteworthy. They include several varieties of etched carnelian and long barrel beads made with extraordinary skill and accuracy. Shell and ivory also worked and were used for beads, inlays, combs, bracelets, and the like. The pottery of the Indus cities has all the marks of mass production. A substantial proportion is thrown on the wheel, probably the same kind of footwheel that is still found in the Indus region and to the west to this day, as distinguished from the Indian spun wheel common throughout the remaining parts of the subcontinent. The majority of the pottery is competent plain ware, well formed and fired but lacking in aesthetic appeal. A substantial portion of the pottery has a red slip and is painted with black decoration. Larger pots were probably built up on a turntable. Among the painted designs, conventionalized vegetable patterns are common, and the elaborate geometric designs of the painted pottery of Balochistan give way to simpler motifs, such as intersecting circles or a scale pattern. Birds, animals, fish, and more interesting scenes are comparatively rare. Of the vessel forms, a shallow platter on a tall stand, known as the offering stand, is noteworthy, as is a tall cylindrical vessel perforated with small holes over its entire length and often open at top and bottom. The function of this latter vessel remains a mystery. Although little has survived, very great interest attaches to the fragments of cotton textiles recovered at Mohenjo-Daro. These provide the earliest evidence of a crop and industry for which India has long been famous. It is assumed that the raw cotton must have been brought in bales to the cities to be spun, woven, and perhaps dyed, as the presence of dyers' vats would seem to indicate. Stone, although largely absent from the great alluvial plain of the Indus, played a major role in Harappan material culture. Scattered sources, mostly on the periphery, were exploited as major factory sites. Thus, the stone blades found in great numbers at Mohenjo-Daro originated in the flint quarries at Sukkar, where they were probably struck in quantity from prepared cores. And that concludes our exploration of the Indus Valley Civilization in this first part of our series. We've only scratched the surface of this ancient civilization's rich history. If you're hungry for more knowledge and want to continue this fascinating journey, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell, so you'll be the first to know when we release the second part. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep exploring and keep questioning.